Special features. Making of an ant-sized heist. A how-to guide. Set your watch and count down the action in this fast-paced behind-the-scenes look at how to pull off a heist movie, including Scott Lang's hilarious heist family, Ant-Man costume, plus amazing stunts and effects. Let's go to the macroverse, shrink down to size in this fascinating look at creating the world from Ant-Man's perspective, from macro photography through the subatomic. WHIH News Front, a hard-hitting collection of content, including a glimpse at the future of PIM technologies with Darren Cross, anchor Christine Everhart's interview with soon-to-be-released prisoner Scott Lang on his notorious Vista Corp heist, and more. Deleted and extended scenes. Audio commentary by Peyton Reed and Paul Rudd. Customer reviews by Ryan Collins on July 17, 2015. Decades ago, Isaac Asimov asserted that science fiction wasn't so much as its own genre as it was a vehicle for other genres. As there was much dissent, he set out to write a sci-fi detective novel which became the first of his robot novels, The Caves of Steel. It seems that Marvel has set out to prove the same thing about the superhero genre. Sure, there's the pure superhero stuff like the Avengers, but we've also seen a war movie, an espionage movie, and, now, a heist movie, among others. So, yeah, Ant-Man is structured as a heist movie, which is pretty clever. It's not a straight heist, though, there's a little, I don't know, rom-com added in. You know, whatever kind of movie it is where the guy who has messed up and alienated his family has to put it back together again. At any rate, as Scott Lang says in the movie, it's not just a heist. Speaking of Scott Lang, Lang was one of my few worries about the movie going into it. As I've noted in previous reviews of Marvel movies, especially Iron Man 3, I do understand that the universe of the Marvel movies is not the same as the one for the comics, but I couldn't understand why they weren't having Hank Pym be Ant-Man when he was going to be in the movie. It was baffling. But I think they did an excellent job of threading the Ant-Man origin story into what they did in the movie. Actually, I really like what they did with that. It adds some extra layers to the movie than just doing an origin story. Also, speaking of Scott Lang, Paul Rudd was great. Okay, so, I already really like Paul Rudd, but he was great in this role. This is another case of Marvel finding an actor who would really own the part and make it his, because that's what Rudd did. However, it was Michael Pena as Luis who almost stole the show. He was brilliant, and the voiceover stuff they did with him was hilarious. Michael Douglas and Evangeline Lilly were both very good. Douglas probably about what you'd expect since he's always really solid. Lily was better than I expected because my main exposure to her has been in the horrible Hobbit movies, and, though those weren't her fault, her inclusion in those has been a sore point. I was also glad to see Wood Harris in the movie. His performance wasn't extraordinary or anything, but I like him as an actor, so it was good to see him in a high-profile movie. The only weak link was Corey Stoll, who came off more as an over-enthusiastic used car salesman trying to sell you a bad car than as a real villain. Fortunately, the movie didn't focus so much on him. Also, the scene with the Falcon was awesome. I love Anthony Mackie in that role, so I was glad they included him. It's really important to me that Cap never finds out about this. Basically, this is another really solid Marvel movie, and, while I would quite put it as high as Captain America or Iron Man on quality, it's close. Guardians of the Galaxy close. I would have gone right back in to watch it again if I could have.